Hello, George here. Well, as you probably gathered from the YouTube newswires, that something that appears to be like a Borg cube is coming out of the sun. It's shortly after the comet Lovejoy hit it. So now, what is this? What is a Borg cube? Let's take a look. Okay, now this is an example of a Borg cube. So basically, a Borg cube is a very large cube. That this one looks like a multi-story car park, at least a space version. And basically, the Borg, which have a hive mind, which is a what you call a cybernetic organism. Basically, it's like a computer with biological parts grafted in. They all think as one, uh, like a hive, and their favorite phrase is "resistance is useless," or something like that. And they like to invade other planets and assimilate them into the hive. And at least in the cases where I've seen this on film, everyone seems to be so scared of these cube-like things. So let's see. However, just because one has emerged in the sun doesn't mean we are defenseless, because there is actually another TV character which has actually emerged and is actually quite adapted to deal with this kind of threat. Okay, so if you recall, about 2 weeks ago, a voice that sounded like Lieutenant Gay Ellis, which is pictured here in the picture, which is a character from the TV series UFO, told us to prepare for departure. And so it so happens that this character is ideally adapted to deal with this kind of threat, mainly because her role is really to use commands to various spacecraft and tell them to intercept and destroy any incoming UFOs. So this is very fortuitous and just shows how Satan is not really thinking that far ahead. I mean, Lieutenant Gay Ellis was now in the surface of the moon, and what does he instead uh, do as an encore? Well, he sends another UFO. So he's just asking to be destroyed, right? Okay, and let's see what Lieutenant Gay Ellis has at her arsenal. First of all, there's this moon base on the surface of the moon. Notice the shuttle there in the background, preparing for departure. And it is using this moon base that she actually tracks all of the UFOs that come within the vicinity of the moon. And when she tracks this down, she sends the interceptors after them. Let's take a look at these interceptors. Now, these interceptors are very interesting. You notice that there's little what you call that, I don't know what kind of shape you call that. It's a bit like a sausage in front, and then to the left is the place where the spaceman pilots the aircraft, not the aircraft, but the spacecraft. Now that long thing on the front, that's actually a missile. See, so these interceptors, they take off, they point the missile at the UFO, and they fire. And after they fire, that's pretty much it. That's their sole weapon. It's just one single missile. And after that, they head back home. So, that's a very good example of extreme confidence, right? I mean, you got to get your first shot right. And of course, their first shot always works. It so happens that the weaknesses in the moon base is actually the targeting system. But since the Borg cube is so large, I mean, that won't be a problem. All you have to do is just to point the missile in their general direction that they're bound to hit. All right, so let's see. What do you think? There's going to be a match coming up soon, and let's see this happen. See, so what you're seeing here is a region in the sky on December 25, 2011. And the sun and the moon are in conjunction. And therefore, the Borg cube, which is on the surface of the sun currently, and Lieutenant Gay Ellis and her interceptors, which are on the surface of the moon, are just going to be next to each other, and they're going to be within range. So, so just shows how Satan has not really thought this one through to the end. We have Lieutenant Gay Ellis with her interceptors, whose mission in life is to destroy UFOs. And here we have a UFO which is so large it can't miss. And they're just next to each other, conveniently within range. So, who is going to win, I wonder? Who is going to come out the victor? Well, the fact that this conjunction takes place in the constellation Sagittarius, which means the Redeemer's triumph, well, that's really a dead giveaway. You see Sagittarius pointing its arrow towards the Scorpion, which represents Satan. Satan always loses. So, the Borg cube does not stand a chance. And so, that's an encouraging thought. Remember the Borg's slogan, resistance is useless. But we know very well that resistance is not useless. We are supposed to resist, and the devil will flee. Right? Oh well, let's see another picture. Let's see how this Borg cube looks like destroyed. Wow, that's what I call a destroyed cube. Oh well, this is George signing off. Keep looking up. Our redemption draweth nigh. Can hardly wait. See you guys.
Interceptors, immediate launch.